Hi everyone, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Lisa.
Welcome to the Beagles Workshop, where our desire is to bring God glory in everything that we do. So today we're going to try to turn a ring. My granddaughter asked that I make a ring and she picked out this Picardy wood. So here's the ring blank and I'm going to have to put it in the lathe to turn it. But before I do that, I'm going to cut a sacrificial board to attach it to.
Now that he has the sacrificial board cut, he's going to use a CA glue. We got that from Klingspor with an accelerator to glue that wood blank there for the ring onto that sacrificial block. And that way we can get ready to move over to the lathe. Now that he's got that all glued onto the sacrificial board, we're going to go over to the lathe where he is going to chuck that piece up into the forge jaw chuck. You can see here him getting that in place and tightening everything up for the next step of this ring turning process.
So I've got the blank attached to the sacrificial board with CA glue. I got it chucked up in here with the forge jaw chuck. Got the tailstock pressed against it for support, and I'm going to turn it round, probably about 3/8 of an inch bigger diameter than this. This is about 7/8 in diameter, and I'm going to go about 1/8 or so bigger than that.
Johnny continues to make passes with the carbide tool there. You can see here him just going back and forth to get it down to the desired size that he needed. And then he would use his calipers just to check and see where he was at.
So I've just installed the Jacob chuck on the tailstock. I'm putting a 5/8 Forstner bit in there. And the reason I'm using a 5/8 is because the outside diameter of this ring actually measures 0.770. 5/8 is 0.625, so you're only talking about 145 thousandths more that I'll have to turn with the turning tool. So I'm gonna drill it out 5/8 of an inch.
Johnny continued work at the lathe working with this piece of Picardy wood here for our granddaughter's ring. He was just opening that hole a little bit wider so that the ring would fit inside of. And after he would make a few passes, he would then check with the calipers to see where he was at and then continue on until we got it to the desired size that we needed for this particular ring that we're working on today in the shop. You can see here at that last check it was good enough for the ring to fit inside of, so we were ready to move to the next step.
So the width of this is about 315 thousandths, so I probably want to cut it about 400, 375, somewhere around there. I'm going to try to cut it with a parting tool right here, about a little bit bigger than the width of this.
Now he's going to be using a CA glue to glue the core there of the ring inside of the Bacati wood blank that we now have turned, so that we can chuck it back up and do a little more turning work.
Alright, just put the Jacobs chuck in the headstock so that I can mount the ring mandrel in the Jacobs chuck.
I wanted to mention this is the first time that we had ever turned a ring. It actually took several attempts. This part of the process here is very finicky and it takes a lot of precision and technique. Still trying to figure a few of those things out, but you can see Johnny continued to just work on the outer edge of this ring to get it down to the desired size and shape so that we could finish up this project here in the Beagles workshop. Still at the lathe, Johnny is sanding now, using all of the different grits of sandpaper to get this ring, again, any rough edges knocked off and it made smooth. And then we're going to start applying different finishes. We did a CA glue finish. He did some more sanding on it. We also used Shellawax to get a better shine on that. You can see him applying that friction polish there. He did several coats of that and let it dry between each coat. We did some wet sanding. You can see him doing that there. And here's our finished ring. This was made out of Bacati wood turned on our Rikon MIDI lathe. This was our first ring that we had ever made, and it is for our granddaughter. Here's a better view just of what it looked like. Here is an up close view of what it looked like. If you haven't already done so, please comment, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Beagles Workshop, where we do a variety of woodworking projects. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.